Bill, it's great to see you again.
It's great to be back on the never-ending journey for perfect entrepreneurship.
The journey indeed continues. That's why we're here. And actually, I want to pick your brain about developing a concept for your product. We've been asked this question a lot. That's why we're here.
And that's what we're going to deliver at the end of the day as a product to our customers. So at some point here, we need to get into what is it? What is the product?
Do you have a framework for developing a concept for the product?
So I've evolved over time to this concept of a high-level product specification.
When I hear this term, I hear high level, and at the same time I hear specification, and that seems a contradiction in terms.
Specification means specific. High level means lack of specification. So what we're trying to do is get the best of both here. We're trying to define for the first time what our product is so we can start to get a common understanding without getting bogged down in too much specification. That will come in time. So the high-level product specification is a visual representation focusing on what will it do, what are the benefits that it will produce, not the underlying technology inside of the black box, but what will it do and what will the benefits be, and be very visual.
Just to clarify, specification does not mean prototype.
No, it's very important not to build a prototype if you can avoid that. I'm an engineer, I love to build prototypes. I work with engineers every day, and there's a lot of joy in building a prototype because you've built something that is yours and you're proud of. That's exactly the problem, because once you build something, you start to get emotionally attached to it. This is what's called the IKEA effect. Many behavioral economists have studied this, such as Daniel Arelli at MIT, who's now at Duke, and they've shown that this chair, which is built at IKEA, if I built this chair, I would overvalue this chair. In other words, if the same chair, the same pieces of parts were built by a master builder, and I took the same parts from IKEA and built it, I would think that this chair is worth more than the other one, even though the other one is clearly a better chair. This is the emotional attachment we get to things that we build.
Bill, what I love about your approach is that you're the first to say that you didn't know most of the things when you started.
That's fair. I didn't know anything when I started.
So I do wonder, in what context did you learn the importance of this tool that you advocate, high-level product specification?
Yeah, well, I learned it the hard way, right, by making mistakes, which sometimes is the best way to not forget it. When I was at Cambridge Decision Dynamics, and then at Sensible, and then at Visage, I started to realize over time that how much money you spent and effort you spent on developing the product didn't mean that the product was better received in the marketplace. Didn't mean it was a better product for your customer. It just meant you had spent more money on it and you were more committed to that product and you tried to push it harder. So I think it's critical to think about when do you spend that money on product development. And I found what was more an indicator of success early on was how many times did you iterate with the customer, kind of getting your ideas refined and refined and refined. And it was faster and cheaper to do that by just showing a high-level product specification or a brochure, a sample brochure that you weren't that committed to.
How can this be so simple, just presenting a visual, a brochure to the customer?
It isn't always so simple. Sometimes it is. I've seen it in my students in class. Sometimes it is. And you try to push that way. But for instance, it's sensible. How do you explain to someone in a brochure that you could go into a computer and grab something and move it around like this and feel what it was like and deform it and change it? So in that case, we did do a demonstration system, but we made very clear to everyone that this was purely a demonstration system and all the code would be thrown out and we could redo the hardware. Anything was redoable, but we just wanted to make the point and let people know you actually could feel stuff in the computer and it had high quality resolution and it was really quite spectacular for them. So in a brochure, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but sometimes if something goes beyond just a picture and you can't do in words, doing a quick demonstration system with the right caveats around it can be necessary.
If you're creating a completely new product, and some products are like that,
Yes.
just like your product at Sensible, perhaps brochure may not be enough. But there are startups that are not creating entirely new classes of products. They are offering a new business model innovation. They're offering an improvement on the existing process, where actually creating a high-level brochure might be a good way to explain to the customer what's at play.
I have never seen a business, and I've seen thousands of them, startups, that couldn't benefit by making a well-crafted brochure. And then if you might need something else, like I was talking about, it's sensible, you can do that as well. But to say that it's something entirely new, that a brochure won't do it, I don't find that credible. I think that's just trying to get out of building a brochure when you really should build a brochure and then think what's the minimal amount you can do otherwise to convey what this profound new functionality is.
Someone who looks at this subject skeptically might say, well, it's getting so cheap to make things today. Wouldn't you save time by coding up a beta site, by developing a prototype, and then showing it to the customers, and then iterating very quickly?
Yeah, and I hear that a lot as well. The problem is as soon as you write code, and I know that because I've written code, is you get attached to it. And it's like asking someone to correct their own homework after they've done their homework. It's better to make the high-level kind of wireframes of it before you start coding too much. Now, if you get to the point where people are buying off on it and you can move to doing something, make sure that the code that you're doing, everybody understands that's demo code and could get thrown away. Don't allow this kind of emotional attachment to be built to it.